Bienvenue à la réunion.
Welcome to meeting number 118 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics.
To Standing Order 1083H and the motion adopted by the committee on Tuesday, April 9, 2024. The committee is commencing today its study of access to documents of the National Microbiology Laboratory in Winnipeg. I will just remind everyone, without going through this lengthy note about the earpieces, that we want to make sure that we avoid injury to our interpreters and those that are in person. Ms. Menard, when you're not talking, if you can just put it aside, same for members that are here as well. So without further ado, I am going
Point of order?
I have a point of order from...
Point of order.
Okay, so I've got Mr. Green on a point of order, and then I've got Monsieur Villemure on points of orders before we begin. Go ahead, Mr. Green.
On the point of order, you referenced a motion. I would ask that you reread that motion pertaining to today's meeting.
And I'm just going to get the clerk to read the motion. Mr. Green, stand by. Motion once she pulls it up. The motion adopted as amended reads that in light of the February 28, 2024 tabling of the Winnipeg lab documents, which contain the government's own findings concluding that the People's Republic of China and its entities infiltrated Canada's top microbiology lab, a national security breach representing a very serious and credible threat to Canada. And given that access to this information has been denied to Parliament and all Canadians by the government for several years, the committee undertake a study for 3 meetings pursuant to Standing Orders 10H3H and 6 and 7 of the government's reasons to deny access to it by Parliament and Canadians, provided that the committee report its findings to the House and the request pursuant to Standing Order 109, a comprehensive response from the government, and call the following witnesses to appear for 1 hour per witness: Anthony Rota, former Speaker of the House of Commons; Philip Dufresne, former Law Clerk of the Parliamentary Council of the House of Commons; Ian Stewart, former President of the Public Health Agency of Canada; the Minister of Health, the Honourable Mark Holland; the Minister of Public Safety, Democratic Institutions and Intergovernmental Affairs, the Honourable Dominic LeBlanc, and any other witnesses that the committee deems necessary. Now, before I go back to you on that, Mr. Green, I just want to inform the committee that when I was dealing with the office and the clerk was dealing with the office of the law clerk, they are the ones that suggested that we invite Michelle Bedard and not Philip. Michelle was already working for the office of the law clerk and probably have better answers in the event that the committee is not satisfied with the meeting today. Then Mr. Dufresne can still be invited. I did invite the Information Commissioner, Canada's Information Commissioner, as a chair prerogative. We have 3 hours today. From May 17th to June 10th, unfortunately, the Commissioner will be out of the country. So I thought that it would be a good idea to have Canada's Information Commissioner here at least to fill in 1 hour. I know that the invitation talked about Mr. Stewart, who's the President of the Public Health Agency of Canada. He's no longer in that position, as committee members are aware, and so we can only invite him if we find him. We're working on that. Anthony Rota and the 2 ministers have been invited to the committee, and we are waiting for confirmations on potential dates. And as you know, as members of the committee know, booking ministers usually results in a lot of back and forth. So that being said, 2 out of the 3 witnesses that have been asked by the committee with respect to the departments that they serve, including the President of the Public Health Agency today, is going to be appearing with us in the 3rd hour. The Office of the Law Clerk has sent Michelle Bedard is here. to address the committee's concerns. I'm going to remind the committee, too, that the motion that was passed called for up to 3 meetings. This is meeting number
Mr.
1.
Chair,
Yeah,
I haven't stated any of my point of order. I simply asked
okay.
you
I'm just explaining.
to read that.
I'm just explaining where we're at, Mr. Green, from my perspective as chair, as to the reasons and rationale where we're at. So if you let me finish, I'll get to your point of order. The last point that I'll make is that we have up to 3 meetings with respect to the Winnipeg Lab issue. As I mentioned, we did invite the ministers to come, as well as Mr. Rhoda. So we are going to be able to, I suspect and hope, to fill those meetings. But I just wanted to provide clarity to the committee as to where we're at today and the witnesses that are appearing before us and the rationale as well. So go ahead, Mr. Green, with your point of order, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I find your actions rather unusual in unilaterally taking what you have determined to be the chair's prerogative when indeed it is the custom of the masters of their own domain. You, sir, are simply there to chair the processes and procedures within the course of the due planning. The planning has to come from the direction of the committee, sir. You have unilaterally taken this opportunity to call a meeting without any consideration to the other parties involved. You'll recall in a motion of our first meeting, I believe it was dated December 13th, 2021, that you were enacted under the accorded standing orders to hold meetings and moved by Ms. Hefner, who's back with us today, that you be authorized to hold meetings and to receive evidence and to have it published when a quorum is not present. Now, hold meetings and calling meetings, it has been my experience within my time on the House side here that there are subcommittees that plan the work. And I think what I'm particularly agitated by is the fact that even within the course of this term, you'll reflect back on times in which members have used 106s to have an emergency meeting. I feel that it is your actions today have been used to surreptitiously avoid having to negotiate with any of the other parties present to call a meeting down the final stretch. And I should note for the record, for the media who's watching and everybody else, that every single conservative-led committee is doing the same thing without the ability to have what I think is a common courtesy, to have the common courtesy of a planning committee.
Hold on.
Now, on my point of order, Mr. Chair, you'll note that the standing orders require from the same day, dated December 13th, that they require having an in-camera meeting that allows the witnesses to be determined prior to the commencement of a study. You've not done that. You've effectively blocked out the Bloc, the Liberals, and the NDP from determining the course of action of this study without any conversation or consideration for scheduling. I find that to be an authoritarian use of your position and highly problematic.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Green. I did explain earlier where we were at with respect to the witnesses. I will reiterate that we have 2 more meetings that we can call, and invitations have been sent. I took it upon myself to ask Ms. Menard to be here, knowing that she was going to be out of the country until June 10th. We had an extra hour today to deal with her, and I thought Ms. Menard added to the discussion. So that's my rationale.
It's not your position to take these types of liberties to decide on behalf of the committee who and when we meet.
The other thing that I will say is that, and you'll recall or may not recall, that on May 7th, I indicated to the committee that I'd ask for deviation time because we're running out of time very, very quickly. And I sent you an email. I sent all members, including the vice chairs, and Mr. Villemure was included, and you were as well, indicating...
That's not factual, sir. Deviation in time means extended time. Not once did you ever bring any of your testimony. You can reflect on the Hansard meeting in the course of our constituency weeks, where all of us, I'm sure, had very busy schedules, had commitments that were in our communities, and you arbitrarily took your power as the chair to circumvent any kind of committee discussion in a way that I think is an abuse of your power, sir.
Point of order, Chair.
Absolute
Yep.
abuse
Hang on,
of your
Mr.
power.
Mr. Kirk, just
and
hang on.
it turns committees like this into absolute chaos when there isn't a modicum of decorum and when there isn't a modicum of courtesy to be paid on the outset of these studies. You do not have the power, sir.
This isn't a point of order.
You do not have the power.
Mr.
It
Green,
is. It's a scheduling question.
Okay, so
of course it's a point
I've
of
got
order.
your point. I
It's
appreciate
absolutely
your
a point of order.
I appreciate your point, Mr. Green. I'm going to move on because I've got Mr. Villemure on a point of order. Go ahead, Mr. Villemure.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's something that I find interesting. We planned for 3 meetings. This is the first. During the first meeting, the witnesses that we have are not on the witness list that we had originally. And I find that concerning because, and I love hearing from Ms. Maynard, but I'm concerned that we won't be able to meet the deadlines that we've set for ourselves. I know that Ms. Jeffrey is replacing Mr. Stewart, but we had asked for Mr. Stewart. Same thing for Mr. Dufresne. So I'm wondering, the committee's motion was clear. We want to talk about the reasons why the government refused access to members on the Winnipeg Lab documents. Ms. Jeffrey was not there at the time, and neither was the other witness. And so I'm concerned to see that the heart of the motion, that we won't be receiving the witnesses that we had set out originally.
Merci, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Villemure. I have already explained how we arrived in this position. We invited other witnesses to this committee.
Progress right now, Mr. Villemure. So we are going to, with the meetings that we do have scheduled, to attempt to get the witnesses here, including the ministers whose invitations have already been sent out. I'd like to go to Ms. Maynard, but I do have. Is it on a point of order? Larry, are you still up on a point of order because you had your hand up?
My point of order was articulated by Mr. Barrett. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And then Ms. Hepner, do you have a point of order?
Yes, just to support my colleague Matthew Green's point of order, I thought everything he said was completely in line. I find this, the way that this committee has been called, completely bizarre. I don't find that the rationale is there from what you've just described to us. Mr. Chair, it's not like this study is actually
Lisa, we're getting into debate here.
It's been studied at another committee. But Matthew's absolutely right, and I want to echo his outrage. This should not be happening. You should not be able to circumvent.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, my hand's up next. Mr. Chair,
on a point of
you've
order,
made a decision.
Yeah.
You've made a decision. I'm now challenging the chair.
Okay. And what are you challenging the chair on, Mr. Green, just so that I'm clear?
On your ability to arbitrarily set the course of this committee without consulting with us on the witness list.
Hang on a sec. We're still on a point of order, Mr. Green. So
you said you made a decision, and so now I'm challenging your decision.
Just hang on a sec, Mr. Green. So, Mr. Green, you can challenge me all you want. The authority that I have as a chair to call a meeting which I've done and I've given my reasons for, cannot be challenged. There's nothing to challenge. So, you know, I'll leave it to you. If you want to have a procedural motion a little bit later on, or a dilatory, that's perfectly your right, but there is effectively nothing to challenge at this point because I've called the meeting. The meeting is going to proceed unless there are other points of orders, and I am going to get Ms. Menard to speak to the committee and to start the process of having a meeting today. So I do see Ms. Khalid has her hand up, and I, on a point of order, Ms. Khalid, I see your head nodding, so it's on a point of order. Go ahead, please.
Chair, I believe I had asked for a point of order before,
sorry.
Ms. Khalid.
I'm going to, Mr. Kurek did say yes. Go ahead, Mr. Kurek, and then I'll come to you on a point of order. Go ahead, Mr. Kurek.
Thanks, Chair. And just to reiterate the fact that we're now 21 minutes into a meeting when we should be hearing
I don't
from
want
the
to
Commissioner, so let's get to work.
I don't want to get into debate. On a point of order, Ms. Khalid, go ahead. On a point of order, no debate. Go ahead.
Absolutely, Chair. And again, just to give my 2 cents on what your ruling and your statement has been on the point of order raised by Mr. Green. I believe that the intent and the spirit of the motion that we had originally passed on this specific issue has not been kept with what is ensued here in today's meeting, and I just want to register that you've not done right by what this committee has been trying to do over these past number of weeks and months on this specific issue, and I would really encourage you, Chair, to really take into account what our committee members have to say.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I feel that I am acting within my authority as Chair. I appreciate that. We do have, as I said earlier, 2 more meetings. 2 more meetings. 2 of the witnesses that are here today are representing agencies that are part of that motion. We will work towards getting everybody within those 2 meetings to appear before this committee. So, Ms. Menard, I appreciate that you've been waiting patiently, and I do appreciate the fact that you are here today to provide testimony to this committee in relation to the study as it relates to the Winnipeg lab. You have the floor. You have 5 minutes to address the committee. Go ahead, Ms. Menard. Thank you.
Merci. Alors, je suis heureuse de comparer le comité.
Thank you. I'm pleased to appear before this committee for the second time this spring. It's only been a few weeks since I last spoke to you, but much has happened since then. Before answering questions related to your committee study, I would like to take this opportunity to give you a quick update regarding my office's operations.
I tabled a special report on my systemic investigation into access to immigration-related information. 3 years after my investigation into the dramatic increase in access to information requests at Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, requesters continue to use the access system to get information on their immigration files for a lack of better alternative. This is now also impacting the Canada Border Services Agency, which has access to the same data and which is now experiencing its own increase in requests. This investigation allowed us to determine that the root cause for the problem was the lack of progress made by the IRCC in implementing a portal to provide the information their clients are seeking. I hope you will take the opportunity to read this report if you have not already done so. Comme je l'ai mentionné lors de ma dernière
As I mentioned when I last appeared before this committee a month ago, in addition to not receiving any additional temporary funding as requested, I am now facing a structural deficit. This deficit results from rigid formulas the Treasury Board Secretariat used to calculate funding for new collective agreement salary increases.
Over the past few weeks, we are now looking at a total funding shortfall of $700,000, which represents a reduction in my budget of approximately 5%. In concrete terms, this will represent a significant portion of my overall IT budget, or money to cover the cost of defending my orders in court, or funding for a full team of investigators. Basically, this reduction in my budget will spell longer delays for complainants who are seeking information from government institutions. This state of affairs will not arise if my office were subject to a different funding model that was more agile, more flexible, and more reflective of my independence as an agent of Parliament. Earlier this week, I sent a letter to the Acting Treasury Board Secretary to seek immediate redress of this unacceptable predicament, and it is my intention to keep this committee informed as things evolve. My office has again made significant progress this year against our inventory of complaints, but more remains to be done. We need to continue to work through these complaints in order to avoid increasing our backlog. I also have multiple court cases to manage as a result of orders that I have issued against government institutions. Now is not the time for bureaucratic penny pinching. Let's now turn to the topic of the day. As you know, the Access to Information Act provides that anyone in Canada, including members of Parliament, has the right to make an access to information request for records under the control of government institution. If you are not satisfied with that response, you have the right to make a complaint to my office. I can confirm that the topic covered by your study has indeed been the subject of access to information requests and complaints to my office. I can also confirm that I have investigated many of these complaints and that some of those investigations are still ongoing. En ce qui concerne le processus parlementaire,
Regarding the parliamentary process by which members of Parliament may also seek information from institutions, this is entirely separate and distinct from the process of making an access to information request. The Law Clerk and Parliamentary Counsel of the House of Commons will be in a better position to speak to the specifics of that process during his appearance.
I would now be happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Okay, merci, Madame Ménard.
Thank you, Ms. Maynard. We're going to start with our first round of questions, 6 minutes each. We're going to start with Mr. Barrett.
Ms. Bernard, nice to see you. Have you followed the treatment of the Winnipeg Lab documents over the last several years and the lengths that the Trudeau government has gone to keep them behind closed doors? And is it your assessment that this treatment follows the usual pattern that this government has undertaken in dealing with information?
I cannot comment on the process by which you requested those documents and the delays, but I can tell you that under the access to information regime, clearly we've been seeing increases in timelines to respond to access requests.
So through the regular course of individuals and parliamentarians attempting to use the access to information system to access information, the government has, you have had to take the government to court. Is that correct?
In some cases, yes.
In this case, we have the full House of Commons issuing orders for the production of documents and the government using judicial means to try and block the release of those documents. So the question is that consistent with your experience?
Again, I don't know what are being used or reasons to not provide the information to parliamentary requests under the privilege of Parliament. But under the Access to Information Act, we see the use of different exemptions, and also we're seeing delays in responding to access requests. Whether it's related to this particular topic or other topics, we know that the system is overwhelmed right now.
The government has claimed, the Trudeau government has claimed that they're open by default. That was a promise on them taking office. Is your experience that this government is open by default?
My experience is that there's a lot more that can be done with respect to transparency.
How many complaints around access to information or the management of files has your office received?
According to, I'm sorry, about what topic?
On this, well, first generally, and then on this specific topic of these documents.
With respect to your study, we've received 14 complaints. And,
Go ahead.
but with respect to the management of, so far, with respect to all of complaints that we receive, over 4,000 complaints in the last year.
So in one case, there was an ATIP filed for information regarding the management of these files. In one department, the Department of Justice said that they have the that they could have the information, they would release the information in 13 years. Is that acceptable?
I can't comment about specific complaints that we would be investigating at my office right now.
Is a delay of 13 years, hypothetically speaking, an acceptable amount of time for the government in responding to an accessed information request?
I can tell you that I've seen cases where extensions have been found reasonable because of the amount of documents that people are asking. But I don't know about the specific cases. It's a case-by-case basis.
On how many occasions have you found yourself, acting on behalf of your office, in court with the federal government? How many times?
I think right now we have 11 cases that are active.
11 active. Do you know how many you've had since you've taken your office?
No, but I can come back to you with the information.
Pardon me?
I can get that information for you.
Is it your belief that Canadians have a quasi-constitutional right to access information and that the government has a legal obligation to provide that information?
The Supreme Court has recognized that the right of access is a quasi-constitutional right. And yes, the government information belongs to Canadians. So unless there's limitation, exemptions, exclusions, that information should be provided to Canadians.
So we have a situation here where your office has multiple complaints. We know that there were orders of lawful orders of committee, lawful orders of the House of Commons, and that the Trudeau government refused those lawful orders. So can we infer from that the government did break that quasi-constitutional right that Canadians have when their elected representatives are even being refused information that they have lawful authority to order?
I've seen cases where the information should have been provided and other cases where the information was properly redacted. It really, again, depends on the cases.
Is it your experience, Commissioner, that access to information is a priority of the Trudeau government?
At this point, I don't see it as a priority. We are asking for legislative changes. We are asking for changes within the system, and there hasn't been a lot of improvement.
Yeah, well, I would just say in closing, Commissioner, I appreciate the work that you do. Canadians share in your frustration, having had their elected representatives order the government on more than one occasion to produce this information, and the government illegally refusing that lawful order of Parliament. We share your frustration and work to get answers, as do you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barrett. Next 6-minute intervention. I'm not sure who we're going to go to.
It's me, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Fisher, go ahead, sir. Go. 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I do have to chime in. I didn't do a point of order, but I have to chime in. I'm certainly join the others that are disappointed in this meeting being called with little notice and totally at the discretion of the chair. And during a very rare constituency week when all of our schedules were completely full, jam-packed, and when we should be spending this last week before the summer break engaging with our constituents. All this to start a study that we could easily start in Ottawa. The committee agreed to study this, even though it's already been studied at Canada-China Committee. And in fact, it's just wrapped up. Why today and why during a constituency week? So I share those frustrations. Now, I've seen meetings called during non-sitting weeks before. Sure, 1064s happen all the time. Emergency meetings, for current topics that just can't wait. But this study today is based on something that happened in 2020 and was just studied by another committee. And, Mr. Chair, we're committing to studying it as well. So my personal opinion is more pressing might be the recent news story on Conservatives spending over $400,000 in taxpayer money during their political conventions. maybe that's the emergency that we should be talking about today. Maybe we should be seeking unanimous
Chair.
consent today
Point of order.
to have a study on
Hang
that.
on, Mr. Fisher. We have a point of order from Mr. Brock. I did stop your time.
Purpose of this committee and all committees that I have the privilege of sitting on is not an open license. It's just to go about and rant and express your frustration. Does he actually have a question? Does he actually
That's a
want to
wild.
utilize
That's a
the
wild
time
statement
with
coming
his-
from you, Larry.
So, Mr.
Are you
Brock,
being serious right now?
Point of order.
we,
Yes, Ms. Khalid, I am
Can we-
being serious.
listen, we're going to stop. We're going to stop.
Then
We're
I
gonna
would
stop.
encourage you to
Ms.
also
Khalid,
do the
Through
same.
the chair, please. So, Mr. Brock, I appreciate your point of order. As you know, I do give a lot of latitude on this committee for discussion. I expect that Mr. Fisher is going to bring it back to the relevant topic at hand, as I expect all members to. So, and I'm just going to stop everybody right here. That I don't, we talked about the issue with the interpreters earlier. When everybody is screaming over Zoom, that doesn't help to prevent the injury to the interpreters. So I'm going to ask, if not any respect at all, at least have some for the interpreters, because I will work with audio to cut off members to avoid injury to the interpreters. So, Mr. Fisher, you have 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So what I would say, though, this isn't how a well-functioning committee should work. You've told members in the past that you would consult and you discuss with them before doing things like this and moving in this direction. So, Mr. Chair, I would strongly and respectfully suggest that you find some time on Tuesday to allow the committee to come up with and decide on a work plan for the rest of the year. I think that would be something that would be very beneficial for us. And for those reasons and more, I move that the meeting now be adjourned.
Team cover up. Here they come.
I missed that. What did
He moved to adjourn. He moved to cover up the
Thank you,
failure
Mr.
to release
That's
the
enough.
Winnipeg lab documents.
So Mr. Fisher has moved to adjourn the meeting, and by his request, he's asked that this meeting not continue, in spite of the fact that we have witnesses here. So it's a non.
Chair, I don't think
I'm
that
explaining
a
again, Ms.
commentary
Khalid.
on your part is appropriate, Chair.
I'm explaining again, Ms. Khalid. We went through this last time this happened. For those who are watching, Mr. Fisher has moved to adjourn this meeting to stop the meeting from proceeding. It is a dilatory motion, which means that it is non-debatable. And so I have an obligation as chair to go to the clerk and ask, I don't think we have consensus, to ask for a recorded division. So, Madam Clerk, please, recorded division.
The vote is on a motion from Mr. Fisher to adjourn the meeting. Mr. Baines.
Yes.
Ms. Lambropoulos.
Yes.
Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Ms. Hefner.
In favor.
Ms. Khalid.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Voting against the cover-up.
Mr. Brock.
Absolutely no to this ongoing and persistent.
Chair, that's absolutely inappropriate. Absolutely inappropriate,
You
Chair.
just need a simple yes or no, please. Thank you.
Mr. Kirk.
I vote against.
Monsieur Villemur. Monsieur Villemur. Oh. OK, Mr. Villemur appears to be frozen on Zoom. Il a l'air d'être gelé dans Zoom. On va passer au prochain qui est Monsieur Green.
Je vote pour.
I can try. I don't know if Mr. Villemur can hear me or not. If not,
I would prefer that we wait for Mr. Villemur to reconnect. It may not make a difference on the vote, but out of respect for Mr. Villemur.
Do you want to suspend on the vote?
We don't know because he's actually literally frozen on Zoom. So
C'est ça, il est en train d'essayer de se reconnecter, puis ça n'a pas l'air de...
So is he trying to reconnect?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, so we'll give it a minute. Until we reconnect with Monsieur Villemure, I am going to, now he's disappeared off the screen. I believe he's trying to reconnect. I'm going to suspend for a minute until we get back.
With all due respect, Mr. Chair, you can't suspend when if a member is out of the room. It's exactly the same as if he's offline.
Point of order.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm going to consult the clerk on that one because it's the first time I've dealt with anything like that. Mr. Fisher, stand by. Just for the record, we're not, I don't believe we're suspended at this point, but we're not suspended. Oh, Monsieur Villemure est là.
I am back.
On attend pour...
Mr. Villemure, we were waiting for you for your vote. Madam Clerk?
Donc, Monsieur Villemure, on va remettre.
Mr. Villemure, we're going to give you the context. The motion was Mr. Fisher's motion to adjourn the meeting. We were voting, and we weren't able to have your vote because you experienced technical difficulties. I vote against.
Donc, yeas 6, nays 4, oui 6, non 4.
Okay, so the motion to adjourn the meeting has been approved, and I have no other obligation as the chair but to adjourn the meeting.